Hey y'all, it's me, Tasha. I just got through literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds ago watching the TLC, film, whatever. So I'm just gonna give y'all my opinion. If y'all have watched, or you one of my subbies, or my future subbies, you know, y'all should just know right now, I go off the script, so I may go middle from beginning, getting to end. I'm just giving y'all the highlight points what I feel is important about the movie. So if y'all, well, pretty much it's gonna be like a spoiler, but we pretty much know most of us who grew up around this age of TLC, because that was one of my great favorite groups. Whatever, I had a couple singles, couple of their CDs, couple magazines. You know what I'm saying? Brought back some memories watching some of this shit, okay? So I'm just letting y'all know I'm gonna be all over the place. But if you think about this movie, it's gonna be all over the place, okay? And then I'm gonna point out some things that if y'all paid attention, like they just went over one point to another, okay? Because I did notice like they'll go to point A to point F. Okay, first of all, I want to bring out is VH1 now allowed for a couple times for say shit on TV, cause little mama, I mean she did an excellent performance as far as I'm concerned. She really got into character, and if she lifts up the attitude, cause if y'all watch Sweet Addictions, I think when she was interviewing at the BET Hip Hop Awards, I think that's where I think she was at, where Candy, who's that's her channel, the Sweet Addictions TV, by the way, was trying to interview her, and she just you're scared, I can't talk to anybody type of thing. That's gonna be her downfall. I don't care what talent you have. Eventually, a stank ass attitude is gonna push everybody away. That can only be a gimmick for so long. You know what I mean? Um, I mean sometimes it works a few times, but it's very randomly. So let's get into a couple pointers. The movie was decent at what it was, but it seems like towards like 45 minutes of the rest of the movie went fast as fuck. Okay. Just to let y'all know that. And what I mean is they skipped everything. I mean, at least we got a little introduction of how T-Boz and what was Dalvin and Jodeci. I mean, I did kind of think that they did go together. Or kind, I wasn't really paying attention because when TNC was out, I was preteen, tween, whatever, 10 or 11 years old. So when T-Boz was in the Love You Life video, and I think she was playing, the character like his girl about to marry and stuff like that, I was just like, oh, they know TLC and Jodeci know each other, blah blah blah. But it didn't click in. But I wasn't shocked to find out that maybe that it wasn't like a surprise when I found out, oh, okay, they go together and stuff, right? And but still, I swear, the same damn guy who played, Devon, Devontae, Dalvin. Okay, I think that's his name. Whew. You would think I would know their names, consider I do have a couple of Jodeci CDs and shit. I swear, I thought the same guy who played Devon was the same guy who played Puffy for them 2 seconds. I'm just saying. Okay. Okay, what was the highlight? Evan Ross playing Dallas Austin. I don't know why the character somewhat reminded me. I mean, he did the best he could considered circles. Like I said, the rest of the movie was rushed, and there was a lot of, followed and paid attention to some of the articles and stories of what we seen. Even just when that 1 hour behind the music, it was a lot of shit that was chopped up, that wasn't put in the film. And they would have spent like another day or had like a 2 part, but probably because of the channel that they used, you know what I mean? And I don't know nowadays if a lot of people watch it if it was, like a 2 part, like the Temptation and the Jackson 5 movie, were the only 2 ones I know that was like 2 part, and were major, African American movies that they still play on to this day. But I don't know if VH1 would have done that, but it just seemed like I said, they jumped the last 45 minutes. Okay, here's some highlights I brought up. Like I said, Evan Ross' character, I mean, like I said, I'll jump everywhere. He played like he was like a grown up version of the boy ATL. Or was it just me? It just seemed like if he like didn't get shot and shit. If y'all seen ATL, most of y'all probably have. If not, I'm sorry I spoiled it. They played all the goddamn time of VH1 or BET and or both. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, it's like, it, you know, it was kind of like reminded me. I mean, he's actually a good actor. I've seen him, you know, in a couple few films. For example, if y'all ever seen Crackhead Town or something, it was some shit with Craig Carey, Washington. It was a lot of shit. It was based on some story. I seen that shit. He was a grimy ass motherfucker in that movie. You know, it's sad to say, you know, I didn't cry when he died. It did. They didn't show it, but you know he died. I'm just saying. I've seen some movie, but he's actually a good actor. But like I said, it just seemed like it was part um you know, extended ATL based on how the way he was as far as his play, if he was grown up and got, you know, a little older. And I retweet, you know, I'm still trying to get used to tweeting whatever, right? But I did look at the first couple of tweets, and then Ashley Miller, I love her channels well too. Why in the world? But it did make sense. Like the first few minutes when they show it after T-Boz, you know, the girl Drew who plays T-Boz was narrating, and then they showed, you know, the jelly bean rose skin ring, and actually John Miller's point, like the first few minutes or the first couple minutes is it's like, you know, part of ATL, which it damn near is. It's like it's a sequel or some shit, you know, but you know, I'm just saying, it just seemed like a sequel at certain times of ATL that might have used the same producers, you know. So anyways, um another highlight. It This is another damn thing. Remember when, I mean, let me just start with Pebbles, the bitch, the witch. I mean, and this seems, I think it is believable that that's the fuck that they went on. It's kind of fucked up how they kind of did Carl Payne playing L.A. Reid, because he just did like 2 lines. Yes, no, wait a minute, I forgot. I mean 5 lines. Yes, no, okay, well then, all right. I mean, that's all it. I heard there was an interview with Hot 97 on YouTube, because I'm subscribed to them too. Why did cause I think he said he even went to character when Boss shaved his head and went to go to, you know, how what Alien Reed been looking like for some years now. What, unless it was at the funeral, I, you know, blinked too long. Where was he? I just remember the lady who was in Tyler Perry's film slash Robbie Williams from Temptation, who, you know, who's been a couple of TV series, who also was part of Tyler Perry's French Rise, or tongue dry. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying is that's Robbie Williams, I think, girlfriend, if they still go together with her. But I mean, you know, she's, you know, her from the Family Reunion movie. I just remember seeing her playing with that same damn wig on when, you know, God rest her soul, you know, or let her rest in peace, you know, Lisa Lefteye Lopes, you know, funeral. When, you know, it had it as present, you know, after she passed away, or, you know, Coco, maybe the last time they seen her, whatever, right? So here's, like I said, here's the for sure points. It could have been, I would have gave at least a, you know, maybe a 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 overall, because like I said, to me, it was decent considering the amount of time, and, you know, any movie that's adapted of a book, or sometimes a remake, another TV television show, or even an autobiography, or whatever the case is, it's never going to be the same once it gets on TV, or, you know, your, you know, movie theater, or your local straight to DVD or Netflix, you know, something like that, right? But I'm just saying is, it just seemed like they had to rush. It was like most of the story, and a couple questions I want to ask y'all, because I was confused. Now, if anybody who's seen CB4, Chris Rock's spoof of all the gangster rap acts around that time, if y'all know that, right? Was it just me, or when they had like L.A. Reid, when he was still, you know, they didn't even not even go whether L.A. Reid Pebbles ever divorced or not, but in real life, of course, they've been divorced for quite a long ass minute. But anyway, when they gave them platinum records, wasn't y'all just like me? I don't know why the hell I thought about the CB4 scene where they had that Jitsi record owner manager, right? You remember he was spray painting, you know, the records gold and shit, fake as hell. I think they were the regular just records you get out the goddamn yard sale shit. He spray painting them gold and shit. And I don't know why I thought about it. Consider how shiesty Pebbles and L3 were. It just seemed like that's what the fuck they did. Those were real platinum albums and shit, okay? I think they spray painted them motherfuckers silver or platinum and gave them to them. Because when they went to long story short, when they got rid of Crystal, we all know story, blah, 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 and it kind of showed, like, as quick as they can, but try to get details how they met and got together. And the sad thing, Lisa's father was shot, and we did know about, we could see that Lisa's might have had possibly an, dependence, and dependence or abuse. Alcohol was one of the problems. One thing to know is she busting heads and shit with bottles and shit at the club one time, and then I'm like, I didn't get in the news. I didn't hear about that and nothing like that. I'm just saying, but I mean, she was creative, but she had a lot of demons that this show had to fight, and that's why she was trying to go indoors to clean herself. And if anybody seen the drama or documentary, whatever, on VH1 a couple years ago, I think they played it last year. I seen some of it, and this poor child, they edited that part out as well. How, I guess, to deal the pain, I forgot when she was doing, she was scratching with a fork and cutting into her skin, and it was still the mark of a, tattoo or markings of letters that she had on her inner wrist. So it was like I said, that child went through a lot, you know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah. And the point to just jump out of nowhere, all of a sudden T-Boz is with Mac 10. They didn't say nothing about that she was divorced, if they were still together, or anything of that nature. That's what I'm saying is, the only way you probably would have got more information about how they jumped from this scene to this scene, they would have had to have, another additional, probably, hour and 30 minutes and stuff like that. And I know they ain't gonna do that shit. And, so like I said, if you know the story already, if you get good, but if you don't, you don't. But I was just like, that's a damn shame how they did last minute. And then I noticed when the scene where they about to do scrubs, why they took 2 goddamn minutes. I could see on YouTube and shit. This the original member, everybody, real life T-Boz, Chilli, and God rest his soul, piece of Lefteye, Lopes, if I want to see the scrub video. No offense, but it was just sometimes they were taking too long to, like, get to the scenes or behind the music, literally behind the music, okay? This was supposed to be movie version of behind the music with TLC, okay? And at times they sitting here reenacting shit. I can understand snippet there, snippet, give 30 seconds or less. But a lot of times they kept sticking on when it came to the reenactments of the music and shit. They took too damn long. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here just, I ain't got my watch on, but just looking at the phone and shit. Just, okay, take it too long, take it too long. Okay, this is going past a minute and 30 seconds. So anyway, back to that. Now, what else stood out to me that I was kind of questioning? Because this is gonna be like a lot of questions filled in. Because, like I said, a lot of us already know the fucking damn story. They do go like into when they went bankrupt. Because Pebbles. Wait a minute, I would like to go back to that witch, because this bitch, like I said, if she was so slimy and grimy and shit like that. I mean, this bitch is a witch, and this is why I want to call it. She don't need no fucking makeup. She is a witch 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year type of motherfucker. Bitch don't need no makeup, no costume. All she gotta do is wake up. Okay? It's just her natural character. And, I mean, the way she did those girls so grimy, but see, the thing is, even though they were grown, they went in kind of setting up like she had the bait and they went for it. Because they had no lawyer, they just went in by themselves and sitting here because they easily got manipulated and fell for the bullshit. And here's the contract. I'm just going to make it in. Here's the contract. They sitting here, oh, okay, where's the pen? Where's the pen? Okay. Ooh, sounds great. Even though this bitch just told y'all, I'm gonna give y'all $25 a week and a pack of lemon heads and a box of Apple Jacks, okay? And y'all still gotta pay for more shit. And I'm generous with that shit, okay? Because I got y'all king size, the movie size of lemon heads, okay? And I'm gonna give y'all half-gallon of milk that y'all can share among each other, okay? That's what the bitch was basically saying. And they just so excited about, I understand when you have a drive and shit, and sometimes you have to invest, we all have to invest sometimes just time and money and everything, but it was just so sad and fucked up that this bitch was able to trap them with Apple Jacks and lemon heads and 25 fucking dollars. The last time $25 probably meant something was probably 1800. I'm just saying, even in the 90s and shit, you couldn't live on no goddamn $25 and shit, okay? And I think when they're all just staying at their homes, And Lefteye, where was the child still staying at? Was she staying at? Because they never showed where the child was staying at. When once they were still broke, but they never showed where she stayed at. I don't know. She stayed on T-Boz couch and shit until she got with Well, oh my God! Did anybody put that part with Premier Himalayas? Now this part here, I could understand because of the time consuming. It just made it seem like the relationship was a week, but it was interesting. All three of them had all these relationship problems going for. You know, I don't know. If Chilli got pregnant around that time, but just the fact that she fell after for again Yvonne Ross' character Dallas Austin, of course bullshit, even though he got a bitch pregnant, the bitch all showing the belly and shit like it's a prize, whatever, yeah, I got robbed all your man, whatever the case is, bitch, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And she still kept taking him back until a little after the baby, is born, and then she got sick and tired. And then you got T-Boz arguing with Devon Dalvin slash Puffy, because like I said, I swear that was the same person, playing the character, both two characters in that film. Okay. Then you got the thing that was very important is T-Boz struggling with her sickle cell and stuff like that. And like I said, back to the witch again, she basically was like, I'm about to take y'all and roll the hospital bed off and have that bitch perform. That bitch gonna dance, okay? All right, and that's pretty much one of the things, also the highlights. Then if anybody pay attention to when they end up actually when they met Chilli and L.A. Reid was like, oh, Lefteye is hip hop rap, street, but not ghetto, okay. And T-Boz, is the funk, brings the funk and shit into the thing, whatever. And then when he said to Chilli, she was the pretty one. Did you see the witch's Pebble's face? And her wig, I mean her hair, I know that's supposed to be her hair, but we real life we know that's not that woman's hair in real life. It just her hair made his own curls, just did some extra curls and shit. Because she was just like, oh, this bitch. So when they had that food fight and Dallas Austin was running his game, or Chilli was kind of following the studio. First she was trying to say about not being loose, but that's I think why she came at the Chilli more, because she got nerves to tell you mad? Are you mad because I'm wearing Chanel bags and shit like that? And then kicked her out of the group. But it explains because apparently paying attention to this stuff, she probably thinks like if there's a chance, I ain't gonna have this bitch take my spot, type of thing. So she was kind of what I gather based on the film and maybe based on their personal accounts, around that time, that the bitch was also technically jealous of Chilli because it seemed like Ellie Reed had some interest in her. That's just my point of view on that shit. Like I said, they forgot to bring up the part about Lefteye missing and shit, and she was like getting Doris there, whatever. But like I said, this was actually behind the music. Like I said, a lot of shit that you can't find, you probably have to go behind music and see and shit. She was with some guy. I don't know if that was Lori, Lindsay, Leach, whatever, or was another guy, but he was a model with some teal blue eyes, some shit. But he also wore braids back his head. But she went missing with him when everybody's trying to find him. And I'm surprised, like I said, that this, that like I said, they chopped a lot of shit up. That this was not brought up. And this was major because nobody knew what the fuck she was. She playing Jane and what was it, Tarzan and shit with this dude swinging on vines and shit somewhere in South America, Brazil. It was somewhere, okay. And then on top of that, here's another thing where I was confused by. I don't know if it was possible lawsuits or some shit, but I noticed that they did not bring up when Lefteye actually went to join Suge Knight, you know what I'm trying to say. When he tried to reinvent Death Row, but instead he called it a row, and I remember around this time that her name was supposed to be some acronym was Nina, right? And I forgot like no identity type of shit, whatever her name was, right? And she was joining them, and he had like if y'all heard a rapper like Crooked Eye and Corrupt, and you know how they dashed in and was like, and even Snoop Dogg was like, the fuck, this after all the bullshit Sugar put him through, and Corrupt went back to when it was now called The Row, and that's who Lefteye was trying to do at the same time. She was also the host of the MTV show The Cut, which was kind of like a karaoke talent type of shit, like a mini, um X Factor. I forgot what it was, but I remember she was doing that too, I think around the time. Then Suge Knight was talking shit about T-Boz and Chilli, like they could give a lap dance. It was it was a bunch of bullshit behind it. And they were confused, like, what the fuck? I'm saying is, I don't understand what it kept bringing Master P when I know for a fact that it was a one to buy magazines. I used to be described, back in the day to buy a magazine and shit, or pick up, a couple copies and shit when it was relevant still. And it was some bullshit, like I said, she joined the role, was supposed to be part of the role and shit. I think I even heard some rumors that they were trying to say like he had something to do with her quote quote car accident and stuff. I heard, just hearing the rumor mill. Yeah, I think so. It was in the magazine or it was the internet, because I think dial up. No. It was right before dial up had stopped, and then we could get cable in our house or something for the internet. You know what I'm saying. But I'm just saying overall is that it was just that seemed like was a major part missing, and it kept bringing Master P. And I'm thinking like, is there some reason why, for legal reasons, why they're not bringing this up? Okay, it was touching about the scene about the mother being there, but it also didn't make any sense why, if they're going to bring up the blessings of both Chilli's and T-Boz babies, why was T-Boz was 6 or 7 months pregnant when she got married to Mac 10. They didn't bring it up. They didn't bring up how they met. They just appeared. Like I said, at least with Dabble, he 2 seconds, it probably met on tour working together. You kind of assumed that, whatever the case was, but he just jumped into out of nowhere. Okay. Um, but like I said, with the Lefteye thing, when they were talking about the Aaron Rising character, I mean, I swear, with that goddamn Pip hat and the Pip hair coat, I just swear, it just seemed like he was walking until you hear that damn Superfly music in the background. Well, so then, I saw you stuff from my queen from afar and stuff. They call me Silky, okay? Silky with a capital S, okay, and a capital Y. And I just seen you from afar away, you sexified thing. Do. Females in the background. Because, I mean, it was just too fucking comical, but sad at the same time, because I'm like, is this real life here? And he just literally swept out her feet and just took her home. And it just make it seem like once she burned the shoes, which I didn't know that actually somebody was with her when she burned the shoes, because I could have sworn in Lisa Lefteye's own account that she was there by herself when she burned up the shoes or whatever, and it just went everything afire. But it shows in the film somebody was with them. But I don't know if they added some parts. I know T-Boz and Chilli both were executive producers about this. So I don't know if two of the executive producers, but it just seemed like, okay, that just came out of nowhere. Like I said, it was good to at least have like T-Boz, like I said, mother was in there. You have like also Chilli's mom, but like I said, we always seen, excuse me, Lefteye alone. And if you think about it, at times what you've seen on off with these specials and everything else, even though despite, I guess, with this, we never seen that much, most of the time. Real life, we did see at times still that Lisa's like sister, she has a sister named Rain or something like that that looks exactly like her. I think Lisa has a brother, and I think they show her mom and stuff. I mean, they visit, but they never show Lisa's family. We showed that she was breaking down, and there was a lot of issues about trying to struggle to get her dad's, love and stuff like that. But it never showed like she had any contact with her family based on the film, besides a lot of like highlights that were kind of taken out. And another thing, where's Usher? Oops. I mean, I understand Usher came. Was it right around the time God rest his soul released up past whatever? But I mean, it just like I said, I don't know if he came before. Wait a minute, he did come. I think after that, because I was like, could somebody in the comment box tell me? Because I don't feel like looking up and shit. When 8701 came out, because that's when they were in a video, and after that they kind of like started talking and stuff like that. But I mean, it was right before, right after So if it was right after, well, excuse me from saying that, because if it was after her passing and stuff, it was irrelevant. But I did hear about, like I said, her trying to make an album, and she didn't make it in Nina. She was a Supernova album, and but it only was limited, and it came out, out of, United States, whatever. And like I said, considering the circumstances, I guess I give it like a 3.9. I know this is the same rating I gave Baggage Claim, if y'all watched that. But like I said, it was good considering the circumstances. It wasn't a bad film. I wasn't sitting there bored and stuff. But just knowing all the information that they kind of had skipped, and probably a bunch of stuff that I skipped, you know what I mean? It was, like I said, it was some stuff that needed to be in there that was not in there. But I do know one thing: they had to remind us about Carrie Perry's damn album every 2-3 minutes, Huggies versus Pampers, Love and Hip Hop this season is supposed to be going to be old shit. We all gotta watch this, whatever, right? And then it got nerves to try to bring back Single Ladies with that one goddamn scene with Latoya Luckett and about, Lisa Ray character was a Jill Vegan hoe or was still in hoe, whatever the case is. And what else who they trying to plug? They weren't even trying to plug Chrissy, but they sure were trying to plug up those three to four things I just mentioned. But they sure was running the hell out, especially that Love and Hip Hop. And then we got like one spot about the Black Ink Crew, returning with a new episode next week. But like I said, it was like it wasn't anything too special. A lot of stuff, about, and like I said, it was a lot of reenactments of shit we already have seen 1,000 times. So, if y'all irritated about, possibly, if you haven't seen the film yet, you're like, okay, we've seen this before. But like I said, they all did a decent job, but what stood out was Little Mama's character, because she just somehow was able to fit into the shoes of Lefteye. It really did, stand out. So, that's pretty much all I have to say. I really wasn't gonna go through like the whole film. I just like wanted to point out pointers and about, like I said, how Pebbles had hold them with the money, and basically, they weren't the only ones that got fucked over and shit, because we all know, even including Toni Braxton, and I forgot who the other like successful, if they had other successful has under LaFace Records that was directly under them, but we know most of them got completely screwed over and affected. So by the time, besides them getting them spray painted platinum records and shit, and then getting them Pathfinders, which I'm just like, damn, this is just as bad as them getting neon rims. I'm just saying that it was just really sad how they were played, but like I said, they stepped in, in the ring with, no boxing gloves and shit, not ready. So it explains, it was a cautionary tale. I'll put it that way, about being careful when you step any lines of business of that. You got to read between the lines. And if you don't understand something, do your research and get somebody to help you, take a class, whatever you got to do in order to not be put in this situation. So cause here's one of the biggest, girl groups that, I mean, in my lifetime, but I mean, they broke in so many barriers, like, they're early, later on when they had this new manager that was helping them out. And around the time Lisa really started just like, I'm trying to find myself, even though, I'm losing million, 20 million, $5 million deals. I'm sorry. I had to give T-Boz credit. Because that's a lot. I understand she gotta find herself, but my foot would have found my way into her ass if she got the nerves to turn out all that goddamn money. Okay, I'm sorry. And then after fuckery of being puppets with Ellie Reed and Pebbles, the witch ass, and then got the nerves and audacity to screw talking about I want to find myself. Yeah, you will find yourself. I'm just saying, okay. And I'm not even a damn person, but I'm just saying, even the 12 me, oh, I gotta find myself or whatever. But like I said, just from the outside looking in, it's probably different considering the circumstances of what we as the audience could not understand because we weren't there, okay? And yeah. Now I feel I talked enough and ranted about what I thought, kind of stood out to me and what should have been put in and stuff like that. Okay, y'all have a good night and take care, and I will see y'all in the next review, next video. Y'all have a good night. Like, enjoy, subscribe, comment, rate, whatever. Y'all take care now.